Good afternoon, grade 10s. Today we're going to be calculating angles. And here are the rules for calculating angles. If you are given a trigonometric equation like I gave you right now, where we have sine x is equals to a, x is an angle, a will be your sides. Obviously, your sides will be, in this case, it will be opposite all over hypotenuse. However, it might not be given as a fraction to you. It might be given as a decimal, right? Please note that a can be either rational or irrational. It will either be given to you as a decimal or a fraction, but you need to remember that those are simply your sides. When we trying to find out the value of x, we're simply calculating an angle, and that angle needs to be in degrees. Okay, that angle needs to be in degrees. All right, for you to be able to find the angle in this case, what you need to do is this. X will simply be the arc sine. It will be equal to arc sine of your sides. It will be equal to your arc sine of your sides. When you get to varsity, I will explain as to how you got to that arc sine of your sides. It's the same logic as exponents. Later on in grade 12, you're going to be doing logs. It is just a reversal of what you have done initially. Initially, we were using angles to find sides, but now we are simply using sides. Now here, for you to find the angle, your angle will simply be equal to the inverse or the arc sine of A, or of alpha in this case. All right, let me just quickly do an example. Let's say the ratio of your sides is the square root of 3 over 2. Remember that square root of 3 is your opposite and 2 will be your hypotenuse. And please remember that your size cannot be greater than your hypotenuse. That is, your opposite and adjacent may not be greater than your hypotenuse. So this can only work for as long as it is a proper fraction where the numerator is less than your denominator. Otherwise, your calculator will give you an error. All right, so whatever you get as a decimal, make sure it doesn't exceed 1. It can be 1.5. However, it can be 0.9 or 0.99. For us to find x here, which is the angle, we will simply find arc sine of the square root of 3 over 2, and arc sine of square root of 3 over 2 will simply be equal to 60, meaning that x is equal to 60. I'm going to show you guys how to calculate that using your calculator. Now what you're going to do is press shift and then go to sine. So you will have arc sine or the inverse sine, and fraction. Numerator will be square root of 3, denominator will be 2, close brackets, and equal sign. You will get 60. So x is equals to 60, but because it's an angle, that 60 will be in degrees. If you have cos x is equals to alpha, that x is your angle and alpha will simply be your sides. For you to find the angle, you will have to find arc sine of your sides. In this case, your arc sine of your sides, I just rushed to the answer. Arc sine of your sides, let's say you have cos x is equals to the square root of 3 over 2. For you to find x, you will simply find arc sine of square root of 3 over 2, which is equal to 30. So you will have arc cos of square root of 3 over 2 is equals to 30. It's a shift, then cos square root of 3 over 2 it will give you 30. Let's get to the next one. 10 works the same way. There's something special about 10. With your 10, a can be any value. So basically a can be 6, 7, so on and so forth, alright? However, with sine and cos, a is restricted. A can only be greater than -1 or less than +1. It may not be greater than those two values. It can be equal to those values as well, alright? Now in this case, x is equal to the arctan of a. Let's say we have 10x is equals to 1. So x will be equal to arctan of 1, and arctan of 1 will simply be 45. Okay, I'm not going to go through it with the calculator. I did show you guys how to use a calculator. In this case, let's say we have sine x is equals to 0.34. For us to find x will simply be sine of 0.34, which is 19.88 degrees. If you have cos x is equals to 0.551, x will simply be equal to arc cos of 0.551, and arc cos of 0.551 will be 56.56 degrees. If we have 10x is equal to 6.9, x will simply be equal to arc 10 of 6.9, and arc 10 of 6.9 will be 81.75. Cos x is equals to 1 over 2, x will be equals to arc cos of 1 over 2, and arc cos of 1 over 2 is 56.56. And this is your exercises. Now let's say we have angles that you're given a binomial, which is your angle. Please note that this is still your angle. It changes nothing, all right? We still have x plus 10 degrees. That is your angle. And for us to be able to solve the angle, it is still your angle, right? That is still your angle, the one that I've just highlighted. For you to be able to solve for that angle, you will simply take that angle. It will be equal to arc cos of 0.9, and arc cos of 0.9. Basically, you'll have x plus 10 degrees is equals to arc cos of 0.9, and arc cos of 0.9 will simply give you 25.84. Now, once you've found 25.84, you need to understand the angle that we are trying to find here is x, all right? And please note that that 10 degrees, the fact that it's in degrees, it simply means it is an angle, hence it will be part of x, all right? For us to be able to solve for x here, I'm simply going to transpose this 10 to the right hand side, and when I transpose it to the right hand side, it will be when I transpose it to the right hand side, it will be negative. So I'll end up having x is equal to negative 25.84 degrees minus 10 degrees, all right? And 25.84 degrees will simply give you 15.84 degrees. I have shown you a screen of my calculator as to how I calculated that 25.84. Now here is something that is similar. Please note that on the left hand side we have two terms. I want us to go back to the previous slide. Here on the left hand side we only had one term, which is cos of x plus 10 degrees. This 10 degrees is part of the angle that is given to you, of the given ratio, which is cos. So basically we have x plus 10 degrees as the angle. However, this side 2 is not an angle. It doesn't even have degrees, meaning that we have two terms on the left hand side. Now, when you have two terms like this, or it can be 2 or 3 terms, you need to isolate your ratio. All right, your ratio in this case will be cos of x. We need to isolate cos of x by taking 2 to the right hand side. On the right hand side, we will be left with 0.44, which is simply 2, 444 minus 2, it'll give you 0, 444. And now you can start solving for your angle once your ratio has been isolated and you have a constant on the right hand side. Now for me to get x, I will simply find arc cos of 0, 4, and arc cos of 0, 4 will be 63,64. And that is how I calculated that 63,64. If I have tan of 3x, 3x is my angle. For me to solve for 3x, 3x will be equal to arctan of 6, and arctan of 6 is simply 80,54. Please note that 3 is attached to x. Now for me to be able to solve for x here, I will simply divide both sides by 3, and x will simply be equal to 80,54 degrees divided by 3, which is 36,85 degrees. It will always be in degrees because I am calculating angles. I have given you a screenshot of my calculator as to how I calculated that 80,54. In this case, you apply the same principles. I need to isolate my ratio. Please note that sine x is divided by 2. For me to be able to solve for sine x, I'm simply going to multiply the side by 2, and I have sine x is equals to 2 multiplied by 0, 1, and 2 multiplied by 0, 1 will be 1 over 5, and I will simply have to find arc sine of 1 over 5 for me to be able to calculate x, and arc sine of 1 over 5 is 11,54. Here, please note that I have 10 squared x. I can't work when I have that 2. I need to get rid of that 2. For me to get rid of the 2, I will have no other option but to apply the square root. That's how you get rid of an exponent. If it was a cube root, I was going to apply the cube root. But please note that if your square root is an even number, when you find the reciprocal of that even number, on the right hand side, your answer will carry a plus and a minus. That is why here, when I find the square root of 2, my answer will simply be a plus or a minus square root of 0,64, and the square root of 0,64 will be 0,8. So for me to solve for x here, I will simply find arctan of 0,8 and arctan of 0,8, as well as arctan of negative 0,8. Arctan of 0,8 will simply give you 38,66 degrees. Arctan of negative 0,8 will give you negative 38,66 degrees. And that's how I calculated the two values using my calculator. Please do exercise 6. It is on page 17 as well as page 19. Do number 16 up to number 24.